What is up? What is up? What is up? Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I don't know if it's morning or afternoon for you. All I know is that it is afternoon for me is 1:34 p.m. and I'm super hyped to be introducing introducing my very first solo podcast. We're gonna insert some applause right there. We're gonna insert some applause because this is huge. This has been a long time in the making. We all know that we're living in the very middle of a pandemic, what some like to call a panorama, a Panera Bread. I don't know what you call it, but what I do know that this is something that has impacted the entire world. And the fact that I get to sit here with breath in my lungs to be bringing forth what I believe is my purpose. For that, I am super, super grateful. So I want to thank you for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing me on camera. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast, whatever you use, I use Spotify personally. I'm just so happy that you're tuning in on this intro episode with me. This is On the Move with Maki. I'll be your host, Makisha Noel. My family, my friends call me Maki. That's my nickname. That's what it's been growing up. So I want to welcome you into the family, into my space. Today, in this intro episode, I'm going to be sharing my vision for this podcast, why it even exists. I'll also share a lot more about myself, what I do, how I spend my time. And then episode 2 is where I'm going to kick off the interviews with the dope creatives, movers, and shakers, because this podcast was designed to elevate the stories of diverse, multi-passionate creatives who stay ahead of the curve in this ever-evolving digital world and in this world that we live in physically. So here's what you can expect. I'll be interviewing those creatives and you'll hear some of their life's hardships. You'll hear some of the tough challenges that they've even been able to help solve in this world. You'll also hear more about some of the impactful ads that they worked on. So the reason why I'm saying ads, because we're going to be talking to people who are in the marketing and advertising industry or marketing and advertising adjacent. It all connects. It all has the impact. We'll also hear some of the films that they've developed or even starred in, because we're going to have some actors in the building, somebody. And also some of the amazing photography they've been able to capture as well. All of the goods. And in those conversations, we'll get into the topics of personal and professional growth, impact, and even entrepreneurship. So it all runs the gamut of what we'll be chatting through together. Each episode will likely be about 20-30 minutes. Still figuring that out. Don't judge me. Let's not judge. We just started this relationship, y'all. Let's not judge. It's going to be 20 to 30 minutes. We're going to figure it out. But I'm so excited to be bringing those people together to have those conversations with me. I also have a segment called The Break Room. Oh, I'm so hyped about this, because this is where I'll be having dope, fun, informal conversation with 1 to 2 people at a time, y'all, because we're not going to bring in here a whole group. I told y'all at the beginning of this, we're living in a pandemic, right? So we're going to have 1 to 2 people at a time, and it's all going to be virtual. So hype about that, because we're going to be talking to people from around the world. But these are 1 to 2 people who I've enjoyed working with in the past. We'll be able to chop it up about our experiences and what we learned working and just doing life together, how we've impacted each other's careers. So I was trying to say hype, and that this is so dope. I'm so hope. Why do I do this? I'm so hype about the dope people that I'm going to be bringing and introducing to you all. Okay, so every week I'll either have a guest or it'll be a solo episode. And for solo episodes, I'll be diving deeper into branding, telling your story, and even sharing my personal journey and some nuggets I picked up along the way. If y'all want to hear some. Okay, so if there's something that you want to see covered, just let me know. We're going to talk about it. So now let's get a little bit into me and who I am. Ding, 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 ding. Cue the music. So I currently live in Miami, where I was born and raised. I am Haitian American. And for the past 3 years, I was living in DC, PG County, y'all can stand up because I lived in PG County. Yes, I lived in DC proper, but I also lived in PG County for a little bit, so I can rep it, I think. But I really made my way back home to Miami, my hometown, during the 2020 global pandemic. And I graduated from Miami-Dade College and I also went to the University of Central Florida. Can my night stand up if you're listening? With a bachelor's degree, I focused on business administration. So for all my business administration majors, look, it's work out here. It's work to be done. There's work to be done. And I really had a focus also on entrepreneurship. So in undergrad, I did the absolute most, but I loved it. I studied abroad literally every single chance I could get. And follow along with me now, because I'm going to show you how it all ties together. But I got to study abroad. I studied abroad literally every single chance I got. Studied international marketing in France. I was there for a summer. I explored the Incan Trail in Peru. Also did Machu Picchu. That was amazing. I even taught English and marketing in Botswana, Africa. And in between that, I also had a chance to do an internship in New York and Guatemala with Pencils of Promise, where I learned more about social entrepreneurship and even got to build a school in Guatemala. So that was amazing. I currently work in the marketing advertising industry, which is why I said we'll be doing a lot of focus on some marketing and ad professionals. Let's bring them in, bring them out. But I always tell people that I was not looking for the marketing industry. That thing found me, baby. I was actually supposed to start my career in international and economic development with the Peace Corps. I was interviewed, offered the role. This is back in 2016, y'all. I was offered the role to live in Senegal, West Africa. But at the time, and super exciting. But at the time, I was like, I need some monies. I was scheduled to deploy a whole 6 months later from when I had to start after graduation. So I continued to do a job search, just looking. And I landed a role sending medical doctors to Haiti on a weekly basis. And I found that when I was in that role, and let me tell you how God works. Let me tell you about God. But I found that while I was in the work that I was doing, that I was really leaning towards marketing and writing the social posts for the organizations, crafting the messaging around getting the volunteers to sign up to go to Haiti. That's what I loved, as opposed to, the logistics part of it, where I was like, all right, great. So this is your American Airlines flight. And it was cool. Very impactful work. But I found that actually telling the stories of the people that were on the ground and the people that we were serving was what really brought me alive. But it was an unexpected change. I was in an industry and, frankly, an organization that wasn't really in the place to cater to the different kind of skill sets that people brought to the table. That's the reality. Thank God I'm in a place now where I am able to cater to my different talents, but that wasn't the case with this organization, and that's okay. And it was just an unexpected change and caused so much friction at the time. I can talk about it because this was forever ago, but I was so stressed, y'all. But I realized it was exactly what I needed. Then I moved on because I needed to be in a space that cultivated that creative in me and really fed my curiosity. So in between then and now, I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. I'm gonna keep it 100. In between then and now, I've been fired. Fired. Had amazing bosses and managers. Had very trash managers as well. And I really found that I had lost sight of my worth and value when I was in the middle of the turmoil at work. I've worked in a nonprofit space, been an office manager, entrepreneurial co-working spaces. I really ebbed and flowed between, different industries. But let's fast forward now. Because you remember when Issa said, I got to bring this up, y'all. When Issa D specifically in the show Insecure, which said, I just really want to fast forward to the time when everything is okay. And that's what I wanted at the time. But now we're in the fast forward part. Now I'm here. Fast forward, I am now a strategist pushing the culture forward and really using the power of storytelling in the marketing and advertising industry. I consider myself a culture creator, community builder, and strategist, brand strategist, social media strategist, digital strategist. I love all of it because what I spend my time doing day in, day out allows me to understand people more and allows me to help brands understand how to interact with those people and how to create content that really resonates with them. But let me tell you a little bit about my passion for community building. So I founded the Living Room Project in 2015 as a response to the presidential elections. I found my friends were having very relevant, provoking conversations, but in silos. And I really wanted to start bringing them together under one roof. So in college, I had an apartment with 3 other roommates. So I invited them along with my friends in different pockets into my living room to really chop it up on politics, career building, transitions, to even monies, because that's a very important topic, especially for millennials that were really in this world trying to figure ourselves out. So building this community brought me all the way from my college town in Orlando to Istanbul, Turkey, where I had the opportunity to teach millennial, Middle Eastern, and North African students a blueprint for building community, all the way to partnering with Capital One Cafe in Washington, D.C., where I hosted the Stacking Bricks Entrepreneurs Toolkit series on economic mobility. And this was in March 2020, right before the pandemic hit. But that was an amazing experience, bringing together 2 people I really admire, Pollyanna Reed and Drew Nguyen. I hope I said his last name correctly. Drew, I respect you. I still got to practice that last name though. But thank you for being a part of this experience and really impacting those creators in DC. Then in 2018, after being out of school for a couple of years and living in Miami, I just really had a craving to connect with creative women who look like me. And in Miami, those communities do not exist as widely in New York or LA or even in ATL. So I decided to create it because I am a builder and I felt God using me for this moment. So I executed the epic, amazing Creative Culture Tribe Miami Summit with barely a budget, but the community was hungry to come together, to connect, to build, to invite each other on each other's podcasts, to really make an impact within the Miami community and beyond. So I was able to gain the sponsorships from the likes of PepsiCo, Box Water, Lecterm Journals, and boy, I tell you, Black and brown women in Miami showed up. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that I could not have even done this without the creative direction and partnership with one of my best friends and business partners, Brianna Philippe. Yes, I'm putting your whole government name out there. I could not have done it with this beautiful soul. So when I tell you the Black and brown women in Miami really showed up and showed out and connected, it's really unmatched. So I realized that I was able to use my very life experiences and a non-linear career path to actually form the picture of what I needed to be doing. At first, I felt like I was all over the place. Still makes me sad. But truly, I really thought I was just in this world, not really knowing what step to take. I'm gonna just take any step given to me. But I realized that it wasn't rooted in not having clarity. It was more so about exploration. It was about really seeing, well, what spaces do I thrive in? What spaces do I need to not be in? What kind of people do I not need to interact with on a day-to-day basis so that I can do my best work? So my journey so far has really allowed me to meet so many incredible people who do and do not look like me, but are multi-passionate like me and have powerful stories to tell. So stories of hustle and grind, yet restful and grace-filled. And so that's why now we get into the meat. No, I mean, we were in the meat, but that's why I started this podcast, to highlight those stories and to really help you as you may be mapping out your own blueprint as a multi-passionate mover and shaker that you are, y'all. So I cannot wait to introduce you to these amazing, amazing people. If you want to hear more about me on the interwebs, because we got to wrap this thing up, and you want to hear more about me on the interwebs, you can find me on www.makishanoel.com and on Instagram at Makisha Noel, or on Twitter with the same exact handle. I'm hype. Thank you for even listening. If you made it this far, I respect you. You know what I'm saying? I don't not respect you if you didn't make it this far. You probably busy, but for those who have made it this far and who have shared this episode already to at least one person, I appreciate you, because we really about to bring in some amazing people into the mix. And the fact that you tune in to listen, that means you're making waves. Like, you're making things happen in your life and you're not letting things stop you. And I appreciate you for that. You love on yourself some more, because you are going to grow. This is you watering that seed that's already been planted within you. So thank you. This is called On the Move with Maki, because I'm simply always on the move, and it doesn't get any more creative than that. And I really don't mean on the move as in no rest. I mean always in a state of evolution, self-discovery, and I take this curiosity into my work, the relationships I build in, and even outside of my industry. So, and my contribution to this world. So thank you. Thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for rocking with me and for tuning into the intro episode. This is On the Move with Maki. Yes. Break it down. Break it down. Yes. Yep. Talk to you soon, y'all.